the game. Wallow said it the real. She said, instead of giving these kids games, y'all running game on them.
On them, yeah.
So that's what's happening. So when I talk about, I never they like, why you don't talk about this person? Because these is babies. I know the evolution that they have. But when you 30 plus, and I know that you've been through and you've been around and you've seen this, and you're using that influence to negatively impact and run game on these kids so you can profit.
Yeah.
Then you
draw
a clear. You're a part of the problem.
That's it. You're part of the problem.
But I want to get to that because I want to talk about all the stuff that you're doing. But I want to just go through a little bit more steps. So, how did you sound with Bad Boy?
That's a very unique story because I was signed to Arista. Clive Davis signed me. You know what I'm saying? Right after the Harlem World Project. Actually, Clive Davis, allowed me to do the Harlem World Project because I had the solo deal on the table. I never had to do Harlem World. And that's what a lot of people understand is like, when it comes to this business, you got to look at, the things you can utilize to make business better, because business is never structured perfect to where like, okay, I'm going to give you this, you just going to blow. Nah, that's a means. So at the time, I felt like the Harlem World Project could have been a great promotional vehicle for the solo project. You know what I'm saying? That I'd be able to showcase some of my talents as a writer, and whatever songs I appeared on would help me, evolve into the solo project. So anyway, Clive signed me as a solo artist, and then he left and formed J Records. Now, the woman that was my A&R, her name is Drew Dixon, she decided to stay at Arista with L.A. Reid. So at that time, L.A. Reid had his hands full. He had big shoes to fill, and it's like Loon just wasn't falling into that situation. So I was definitely being looked at like I was going to get dropped. And that was scary for me because I could have just went with Clive. You know what I'm saying? It'd been all right with Alicia Keys and Swiss. They went over there with Clive, So long story short, Mark Pitts was my manager at the time. And he ended up getting this A&R position at Arista, which eventually kind of was like a conflict of interest. So it's like, yo, bro, it's going to be hard for you to fight for me inside the building when you got obligations to the label as well. So he was like, I heard Puff is down in, Florida working on a compilation album. So I'm going to call, I'm going to reach out, I'm going to see what I can do. Because I had wrote for him on the Forever album. So we already had a relationship. So it was scheduled for me to go down there in 4 days and write 2 songs. I ended up staying 4 weeks. And I wrote 11 songs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting the details of all of that on the dot, but just to show you how, like I said, everything is a means. Everything is an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And seizing those opportunities is up to you. That's why I say I'm hopeful about the youth, because that opportunity I saw at a young age. I'm in my 20s. It's like these kids running around now. I saw that, okay, cool. If I maximize this situation, I can make it work for everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's where them records I Need a Girl came out. I didn't need a girl. You know what I'm saying? This situation was publicly known in Puff's life. So in order, like the street, in order for me to eat, I got to make sure my homie get right. Because when he get right, he going to make sure I'm get right. And a lot of times that don't work for us in the music business. Yeah, because the music business is like,
say, I'm good.
Yeah, they don't understand that. It's like, okay, hold up. And that's why a lot of dudes be in their feelings about agreements that they make in this business. It's like, yo, dude ain't reciprocate what I put out there. He ain't a street dude. You respect him too much. That's his business. So anyway, that's how I ended up on Bad Boy. And what a lot of people don't know, after I Need a Girl part 1 and 2, video and all, I still wasn't signed. So you was looking at me, I didn't have no agreement with Bad Boy Records. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm not surprised because I just know how this game is.
Yeah. So and you just gotta know how to look, man. If you ain't tripping, I ain't tripping. But in the meantime, we eating.
That's it.
So I ain't gonna rock the boat. When you ready, when you ready to sit down at the big table, I'm ready when you ready. But when that moment came, it's something else I'm gonna disclose later why the way my situation was structured was in a way that never was really structured out of any artist that ever was there. So when all these discrepancies came up about people getting ripped for their publishing, I didn't have those problems. Never had them problems.
How was your relationship with Puff?
I mean, I looked at Puff as someone who was in definitely a position to educate, regardless of how he do it. because we be wanting people to do it the way we want to do it. Like, teach me how I want to be taught. Nah, if you teach me like Miyagi, I'm gonna learn like Karate Kid. I'm gonna think I'm sanding the deck. I'm gonna think I'm painting the fence, but really, you teaching me how to block, punch, and kick. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that process.
Some people need you to say block, punch, kick.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're like, he ain't really teach me nothing.
He ain't really teach me nothing.
He hurt me. And
yeah, I'm not that type of guy. So for him, I looked at him like a big brother I never had, because I'm the oldest of all my kids. You know what I'm saying? My mother kids, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I seen that this is a guy that's taking me to the well. I gotta drink, man. I gotta figure out how to drink. And where I come from, that's more than enough. I don't know where this whole pacify mentality came from. It's like, yo, cats ain't gonna do that for you in the street. Period.
Yeah, they ain't gonna bring you in the room with all the connections and say, look, I ain't giving you mines, but you can figure this out.
Nah. And as long as you fixate on a pair of Jordans, you're going to be moving like 10 joints a week, and all you getting is some Jordans, because that's what you fixated on. And you can't blame somebody
that's trying to get a piece of the Jordan company, and you just want the Jordan.
That's it. Because really, you taking advantage of yourself. You can't blame me. You taking advantage of yourself.
So you and Puff's relationship right now is good.
Ooh, when I came home, you know, he invited me out to his crib. I went out to Malibu. I seen the video. With my family. It's like I got about 3 hours of footage, you know, with our whole meeting, and it was just like, regardless of what transpired, neither one of us can ever deny that we played a very significant role in each other's lives. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? You can't erase it. You can't replace it. You just have to embrace it. You just say that that's what it is. You just got to embrace it.
I don't know how you feel, but how do you feel about him and Mase's feud? You know, knowing
I think it's, to be honest with you, man, it's outdated. It's outdated to me. That's just my opinion.
Have you ever tried to counsel, like, why don't y'all fix this?
Nah, because that's something that they had before I came in the picture. Okay. So it may be some details that I'm missing. So I might be overstepping. Stepping in, like we talked about earlier. If it ain't got nothing to do with me, it ain't my business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely good at minding my business. You know what I'm saying? But I think that, just for the record, where they at in life and everything that they've accomplished, collectively and individually, they stand for something so much more than to be displaying this type of behavior in front of this generation. You know what I'm saying? This generation has no respect for the OGs, the elders, because of these type of renditions or, you know, things that take place that they witness, and they like, yo, I heard all these wild, good stories about these dudes being stand up, but I mean, who gonna explain that? Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I just think that we all get to a certain point where we have to be very cognizant of how our speech and actions is being received. So, you know, the little discrepancy that broke out, you know, between Puff and Mase at the time. I actually did an interview on this one show on Comedy Hype, and it got a lot of ratings because I kind of expressed the same thing I'm saying to you right now, because, you know, I think sometimes we really don't be aware of how many people is looking at us, you know, especially the youth. You know, we grew up in a generation where parents hid everything. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything that wasn't conducive of anything good, you didn't see it. You wasn't supposed to see it until you got old enough to understand it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we lost that, you know. So, you know, I just hope they can work it out. I hope that they can, you know, get to a point where they understand that what they done for the culture and for our generation is something that's legendary, and, you know, it's timeless, you know. And if they can see that, hopefully they can see that, you know, whatever relationship they had to establish or forge at that time to make those things happen, it should be easy to return to that space, you know what I'm saying, and contribute something to benefit in this day and time.
I agree. I definitely agree. I want to see that under the bridge, man.
Yeah.
So, how did the Bad Boy deal? And did it end before you got incarcerated? Like, what was the situation?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was before, because I mean,
Okay.
that's actually how I end up discovering Islam,
Mm.
because I felt like everything that I had invested in helping or contributing to the success of Bad Boy during that period of time, I didn't believe it was 100%, received and appreciated. You know, I think that once, Puff was able to come out of that rabbit hole, as far as with the whole breakup with J-Lo, the Shine case, he had a lot of stuff looming over his head when I came over there. And I think that those records and just that whole wave freed him from the stress and, all the adversity that came with that particular time. And like I said, being young and coming from the streets, we can't help but look at like, okay, cool, if I help my man get out of a situation, I'm not looking for a handout. But when it's my turn, you know what I'm saying, I'm hoping that he would support and aid me in the same fashion. And I didn't see that really happening. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, we had, a meeting, amicable terms. We went our separate ways. And I started my own company at the time. It was called Boss Up. And I felt like, you know what? If I can do this here, I can do this anywhere. So let me just prove to myself first and the world that I could do this again, So me on that mission, I found myself running into Islam. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because, just to give you the short version of.
Make sure you're a little close to the mic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
gonna pick up and we ain't listening.
Yeah, because I already know my joint stay on bedroom mode. But at the time, the first thing that impacted me is I had a little I had a little show / party whatever in Senegal. So after that passed, I remember I had some off time. I went and visited Goree Island, which is the first slave houses, what I'm saying, ever built in West Africa. And I remember seeing the tour guide that they had wasn't really resonating with me, because he just looked like taking people to see SeaWorld or something. It's like something transpired here way more meaningful, and deeper than what you doing. So it was a guy that was kicking it on the side, and I just he was there for a reason. I believe that by Allah's decree he was there. So I asked him like, yo, you know what happened to him? He said, yeah. I said, yo, when these dudes get out the way, man, I need you to take me and show me what's transpired here. So long story short, he said 60 million slaves passed through here. He said, but 6 million never left the soil. He said they fought and they died. So I'm young, rapper, Harlem. I'm ignorant. I'm like, they must have been some real niggas. You looking at me like, no, they were Muslim. I'm like, Muslim, what that mean? He said they would not submit to no one other than Allah, and they fought and they died. And he said that the ones who were weaker or weakened, it'd be a better term, because they wasn't weak before this. They were weakened, by this noble, valiant effort that took place by the strong. They were weakened, and they were the ones who were sold into slavery. So at that moment, I was immediately stripped of black nationalism. And the reason why I say that is not to dismiss my heritage, my culture, or my ancestry. But everything that we attached to that and understood to be some nobility, it was stripped because these people died for God. They didn't die for this color of the skin. They didn't die for, the injustices that we deal with, civil strife and everything that we dealt with in this country. They died for God. So that exceeds every other purpose that I've ever seen a man die for. You know what I'm saying? I've seen people die for money. You know what I'm saying? Die of a girl, die of a parking spot, gambling debt. I've seen people die with some of the dumbest stuff on the planet.
That's right.
But to know that 6 million people chose to die for God, at that point, it was like, I don't care about the first black man that made the shoe, the first black man that made the iron. And not saying I'm just missing those things. I'm just saying
don't have the same
they didn't have the
importance.
same value now. You know what I'm saying? And that did a lot for me. That stripped a whole layer of ignorance off of me. And the second trip I made was in Kazakhstan. You know what I'm saying? Me and Mario Winans, we went out to Kazakhstan. We was guests of the president there. So, like, for 9 days, we riding around like ambassadors. And, you know, Kazakhstan is Middle Eastern Asia. It's Russia. But they, like, Mongolian descent. So they kind of got, like, you know, Oriental features, Russian genetics. It's a different breed. Yeah. So I remember one time we was backstage, you know, the president guy came in. He was young. So we back there smoking. I'm like, yo, let me ask you a question. Like, yo, when you see a nigga, you say, what's up? I'm burnt. You know, I'm young. I'm burnt out, man. He's like, Salam alaikum. I'm like, nah, that's what the Muslims say. He said, no, we Muslim. So I'm like, wow. So now I'm learning diversity. Because you from the Bronx, I'm from Harlem. You know, we only see the Yemeni, right, on the corner store. Pakistani got the pharmacy. And all the West African Muslims got the cab service. That was the extent of what I understood Muslims in New York City. Now you telling me there's some dudes out, and I'm tripping because I'm thinking he supposed to say like what Toyo Choyo song for something like that. He said, "Nah, Salam alaikum." I'm like, wow. And then the last layer for me is when I went to the UAE and did a show and everything in Dubai. At first I was reluctant to go because, you know, media trained me to look at the Arabs a certain way. Especially the Yemenis in the corner store. They ain't help because they little kids, right? 5-year-old got the AK with the little hook knife on their belt. I'm like, man, I ain't going nowhere with little kids toting like that. I'm dead. They dead. But when I got there, it was like the polar opposite. These people thriving. You know what I mean? They call when their doors go up, like cars out, you know, stuff I'm exposed to, they doing that. Times 10.
Yep.
You know? So when I left Dubai, I went to Abu Dhabi, which is a neighboring city, about 2.5 hour ride. And by the time I got there, the sun was rising. And I remember going out on the balcony and I looked and I'm watching the sun rising over the Arabian Sea and something just clicked. And I knew at that moment, I said, I want to be Muslim. Because, you know, the lifestyle we live, we take those things for granted. You know what I mean? Sun means sleep, night means party. Means nothing. We don't even look at the stars no more. We don't even try to count them. You know what I'm saying? So these miracles that we have in our possession every day, we take for granted as if these things are being facilitated by man. You know what I'm saying? The fixed times of the rising, setting of the sun, rising, setting of the moon, precipitation, and all of these things are being facilitated by the creator of the heavens and the earth and everything in between, and we take it for granted. So at that moment, that very moment, what I experienced in Senegal, what I experienced in, you know, Kazakhstan, and what I was experiencing at that very moment just did something to my heart that words can't explain. So I ran down to the lobby of that hotel. First Muslim I seen, I asked him, like, I want to be Muslim. He was looking at me like I was crazy. I said, I want to be Muslim. So he show you one. I said, listen, man, if I lose this feeling, stop playing. Like, you know, he's like, yo, I'm going to be Muslim. So he told me, it's simple. Just repeat after me. You know, take your right index finger and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And I repeated what he said. He said, Khalas, you Muslim. I said, yo, you sure? He said, yeah, alhamdulillah, you Muslim. I'm like, nah, man.
Gotta be more too.
Ain't nothing simple like that. Come on, dog. The lifestyle we live and what we've been exposed to ain't nothing ever been that simple. So I'm looking at him like, nah, I gotta go get the outfit now, right? Like, you ain't gotta dip me in the water. Like, we ain't gotta do. He's like, no, alhamdulillah, you Muslim. So from that day, the simplicity that took place at that moment is the same simplicity that I've been living according to for the past almost 15 years. And that day I became Muslim was the last day I smoked, the last day I drank, and the last time I listened to music. Meaning Loon or Amir pressing play.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like
15 years.
Yeah.
How was that transition like for your family and friends? Like Did people like, you bugging?
Nah, because
Or did people just embrace it?
Yeah, because I mean, we always stressing integrity. You know what I'm saying? Leadership quality.
That's right.
You know, when you always possess these things and you always, I never was a straddler. Like, I ain't never had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. When I was in the street, I was in the street. When I was in the music business, I wasn't in the street. A lot of people thought I was still in the street. Like, nah. They're like, yo, I know you out of town. Like, nah, I ain't got no town. I'm literally broke right now. Spending 17 hours in the studio eating cold pizza and smoking garbage weed because I don't want to gamble with the opportunity to make it in this business. And then I made it. Then when I became Muslim, you know, everything with me, and people may say it's an excessive disorder, but it's not. I'm just firm upon whatever decision that I make. I got to stand on it. I got to live by it, and I got to die by it. People who straddle, you know what I'm saying, we used to get away from them. Period. Like, though, you
don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, your allegiance is tainted. I don't know, like, you know, you type of dude, man. I don't want to be your plan B. Because you don't seem like me and you on the same plan A. You know what I'm saying? Because plan A means, you know, we going to die, we going to jail. Or
and B is
shot survive.
You going to jail, I'm going on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And when you notice people got the tendency to do that, we used to get away from them type of dudes. In my generation, your generation, we got away from them dudes. Because it's like, yo, dog, it's unclear. It's unclear what you may do when adversity strikes. So for me, that always been my character. So when people see me, like you said, my family, they already knew.
Loon serious.
Yeah, they already knew.
Say that's what he doing.
But then, you know, in the back of their mind, they like, maybe it's a phase. But I wasn't the dude that went through 17 different haircuts and stuff like that to prove, like, you know, or to feel good about myself. You know, there's some people like, you know, saying, nah, that wasn't me. You know, so as time continued to go on, people started to really, you know, mainly the doubters. People that knew me knew better. Like, man, he's serious. And that sparked their curiosity. And because of that, a lot of people that was in my, you know, in you know, close proximity eventually became Muslim or became inspired by Islam, you know what I mean? Or even became, you know, more respectful and cognizant of what it is to be Muslim, or, you know, so on and so forth. So, you know, and those are the things that I carry with me everywhere I go. And I think it becomes easy for people to realize, like, I'm still approachable. I could still hold a relevant conversation with you. I'm not alienating you because I have different choices or different belief system. I'm still me.
Exactly.
You know,
because you know you've come from, so you know everybody's evolution is different.
It's different.
And you know that you was way over here at one time, and you here, so you know that there's a possibility for all of us to get where we're supposed to go.
That's it. It's like how you get there is the beautiful thing, because you have free will. You have free will to choose to obey your purpose of why you were created. You know, I had this conversation with somebody just yesterday, because he was like, you know, I want to fulfill my purpose. And I said, what's your purpose? He said, you know, I want to get to a place where I could do something for others. I said, what if you're not able to do that? Will you still have a purpose? He was like, well, I don't know. I said, your purpose is to worship the one that created you. That's your foundation. You're going to be able to do that whether you break your legs, you lose your speech, you lose your sight, whatever it is. You will always be able to do that. Your purpose ain't to run fast, jump high, shoot a jump shot. Because if you break your wrist or you break your arm, and this is why people fall into depression, suicide and all that, because they feel like that's their only purpose. That I did not fulfill my purpose in life. That's not your purpose. You know, in the Quran, Allah says, "Ma khalaqta jinna wa insa illa liya'budun." I did not create the jinn or men except that they worship me. So we were created for the purpose of worshiping the one that created us. You know what I'm saying? In a manner that he prescribed. We can't make it up. Can't do rest in peace, booby smooth shirts, like can't do. I mean, all of this feels good, but there's nothing legislated, not even for Christians, Jews, nothing legislated that said these are methodologies in honoring, you know, those that return to their creator. But we, you know, because we live on our own whims and desires.
We figured that's what we think.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. For us to be survivors of this ideology, this methodology of just trying to your best to turn shit into sugar, you know, we failed. You know what I'm saying? And the ones that do succeed, we actually attribute that to being true success, but they still in the same state. They just got a leg up. They ain't really doing nothing different. They just happen to make it through customs. You know what I'm saying? We still on the other side of the border trying to get over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yo, dog, throw me a bone. Like, anything. Shoot me 2 bands, something. Like, you know, but he really ain't changed. He just happened to get smuggled through customs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. So I'm so confused. Just hearing you, this evolution, right? And you saying how, and I believe, you know what I'm saying, that you changed your life and you went to Islam. How did you get incarcerated?
And that's the crazy thing, because in like 2008, before I became Muslim, I met some guys. One in particular, but he has a little crew. He's from North Carolina, whatever. And they was trying to do some music stuff. So me being in Atlanta since 2001, and I raised my children there. I set my family up there because it's a way better environment than I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? And basically, I was helping them, you know, establish their career in the music business by using resources and stuff that I had in Atlanta. So at one point, they inquired about something that at the time I've never had no dealings with. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the heroin conspiracy. Anybody that know me in the street. I never saw no heroin. I was actually scared of dope fiends growing up. I used to tell people the dope fiends don't sell their guns. The crackheads do. They sell everything. Dope fiends don't sell their gun. They come scratching and itching, ask for a bag. You don't give it to them. They gonna come back. Yeah, they gonna do something. I ain't play with dope fiends. They were the killers in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that was just something I never dealt with. So I introduced him to somebody else, and you know, Mase, that's dude. Y'all good. Y'all got each other's number. All right, cool. I'm gone. I'm not involved. So what should have been me being charged with an introduction, I got charged as a distributor.
Oh, distributor. Wow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I moved to Egypt in 2010. So this case was from 2008. These guys got smashed in like 2009. I guess after they got their medicine, they just decided to pull out the fishing rods and start fishing.
Well, Loon introduced.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so now my indictment, I get indicted in like 2011. You know, now mind you, I'm in 10 different countries, not even knowing I got an indictment, because all the countries that I'm traveling to are Muslim countries that don't honor conspiracy. So I'm not realizing until after all of this transpired that that's why I didn't get grabbed. But when I went to Belgium to give a talk at a prestigious college, university or whatever, because I'm doing speaking. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm traveling the world talking to people. They grabbed me and told me I had an indictment in the Eastern District of North Carolina in the city of Durham. I'm like, I've never been to Durham. You must got the wrong guy. They're like, no. You him. You know? So 6 months in Belgium, I was fighting my extradition. You know, and I eventually ended up stateside. And because I was already a predicate felon, and I'm looking at a life sentence if I go to trial and lose. You know, I got to pay the trial tax. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the only thing that was on the table was a 14-year sentence. So if I didn't take the 14 years, because the charge itself carried 10 to life, I got 2 priors. So now I get 2 851 enhancements. The one enhancement, they give me the 20 to life, and the second enhancement is mandatory life. You don't never see Loon, Amir, Chauncey, you don't never see him ever again.
Damn.
So I had to eat a 14-year sentence for a conspiracy I never made a single dollar in. I'm going to prison for ghost dope and hearsay, you know.
Ghost dope?
Ghost dope and hearsay. And that's something that all of these people who lobbying for new laws and stuff like that, a lot of it is a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my opinion. Because if someone can go to jail or be placed in a conspiracy by co-conspirators who are dishonest and ingenuous people themselves and acquire credibility, to get you put away for the rest of your life just off of hearsay?
It's crazy.
That's a travesty.
That is a travesty.
That is ridiculous, you know? And I was a victim of that.
Wow.
You know, but like you said, when you had to sit down, I had to sit down because the way I was raised, I don't know how to, you know, administer my pain, you know what I'm saying, to relieve myself of it. It's on me. You know what I mean? Tag I'm it, then I guess I'm it. You know, and that's really, and I'm not saying this to boast or anything. It's just that
it's just the reality.
It's just a reality. I don't know. I didn't know no other way. You know, and my man that I introduced, dude too, he died without a criminal record ever. He died of leukemia too. Like he died of like some kind of illness. I used to speak to him all the time. And he just felt guilty all the time. Like, yo, dog, like, yo, you sure you don't need, I'm good. I don't need nothing, man. We was playing hide and go seek, man. They found me. That's it. You know? And my man spared him with many of these other guys today. Can't wait to hand out. You know what I'm saying? They can't wait to allocate that pain. Like, look, hold up. I'm going to take 1/3 of this. This thing bigger than Nino Brown.
The educated brother.
Yeah, and look,
Kareem Akbar.
You know what I'm saying? If I go down the whole...
Everybody go down.
I
respect it.
And like I said, you know, I never had any animosity. I never felt bitter. I felt like for once in my life, I got to actually pull over and park. Because as we mentioned in the beginning of this interview, I've been running around since, you know.
So you're a predicate for how much time you had spent in jail prior? Did you spend any time? So you just was getting felonies and paper felonies?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So it was the first time you had
first
So
time.
what did you do throughout your bid? What was like your major focus? Like I got this 14 years.
Because like when I was in Egypt, you know, I studied at 2 language schools, 2 Maracas, right? Maracas is like a language school. I was learning Arabic. So I studied for like 6 months the Arabic language. Then I had just signed up for the Rasul Khas, which is like, you know, I was going to reestablish my whole scholastic career in Arabic at Azhar University. So I was going to start back from elementary school, which everything I already know, but to get more proficient in the language, I was going, you know, and I signed up for that. And right when I did that, I went to prison. So that short period of time where I was able to actually study in a structured environment, I created that same environment the whole 9 years I was in prison. You know what I'm saying? So I had maybe out of 92 books, 78 of them was all in Arabic. Some books was translated books, and I just stayed immersed in my religion and learning my religion. So by default, I became an imam. I became someone who was entrusted with the religious affairs of the Muslims in nearly every prison I went to, you know. And I think, you know, and from Allah's infinite wisdom, that happened for a reason. Because, you know, even the prison culture, it damages the sanctity of anything.
It does.
You know what I'm saying? Because even if you're just trying to be on homie time, the politics in prison mess that up. Everything messes up. So the Muslims do suffer from some impact
of prison.
Yeah,
because it's a criminal environment. So you see crime, you see the element of criminality seeping into
everything. So me being Muslim before I went to prison, this is something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think I became Muslim in prison. Because when I became Muslim, I just disappeared. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even though everybody missed the Al Jazeera.
I found that out by just Googling and seeing that you was doing all of these
before
speaking and cookbook. I'm like, yo,
yeah, before
you serious? Yeah,
I was gone.
I
fled with my religion. I ain't here to get no validation from nobody. I made a choice. This is what I'm on. I see you when I see you. In full circle, I end up going to prison, come right back, and now the same thing I was doing before prison, I'm doing now. Just speaking to the youth, trying to inspire them to see, like, look, everyone don't get to survive this stuff. Everyone don't get to live to tell these stories. These stories are not for glorification. These stories are not to raise my status in the eyes of the people. These stories is only a testament to show you or remind you of what you already know. You already know that success comes with obedience. We got to obey to something. We got to submit to something. It's in our nature. It's our natural disposition. Our natural inclination is we know who our creator is. That's why when stuff happens, we instinctively look up. Nobody never taught you that. God's not everywhere. He's where he said he's at. He's above his throne. He's above creation. That's why we call him the Most High. He can't be the most left, the most right if he's the Most High. If he's the Most High, then that means he's above everything. So you can't look under something for him. Instinctively, we do what? Oh, God, why me? You know what I'm saying? We go straight up. Nobody got to teach you that.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So all Islam is just getting in tune with your natural inclination, which you already created to know that there's a creator. They created everything, you know. And our free will is very limited. It's not as wide or vast as we think it is. It's very limited, you know. But, you know, we think we can speak things in existence and come one with the universe and all these things. I mean, I don't knock nobody's belief, but it's like when you understand the source of these things, you will eventually remove yourself from that type of thinking. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, you know.
So you what is it that you focusing on? I know I seen you've been doing paid meals.
Yeah, paid meals.
I love paid meals. Yeah. I just love the whole concept of it.
Paid meals is actually a mobile application that I'm building. You know what I'm saying? I just been manually implementing it just to show the transparency of the company.
So what exactly? Explain like what exactly it is.
Paid Meals is a mobile application that enables contributors to purchase meals for people in need through participating, you know what I'm saying, vendors. So we created an ecosystem, you know what I'm saying? And it just mirrors what we, you know, created in our generation. Our community, we took care of ourselves. We didn't look for the handouts. You know what I'm saying? We created an ecosystem within our own community to where we thrived and survived, even if it was something negative. But we still was able to take those things and create an ecosystem. So a contributor can purchase a meal for a person in need in a whole nother state. Based on the receiver having an application, he requests a meal, he's hungry, he's like, okay, cool, I get a notification, okay, this guy here, okay, boom, 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 purchase the meal. He can go into a restaurant, sit down, have a dignified meal, and no one to know his backstory, no one to know he didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the whole model of people seeing is I feed people what I would eat. Because, you know, when you look at homeless people, indigent people, they have this staple meal prepared for them. It's kind of like institutional food. You know what I'm saying? That does not promote dignity, honor. That you telling me, yo, I'm about to close a spot at like 7. Come meet me right at the back. You gonna give me a brown bag with grease coming out. That's not dignified. You're treating me like my situation is already treating me. I'm already hurting. Why add insult to injury and give me a doggy bag? You know what I'm saying? So what people been seeing is me going out, passing the person a plate with steam coming off it. Hot food to put in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? Same stuff I would eat. And you even see me eating them joints. After I pass out everything.
When I went to, I had me a good meal.
Yeah, I'm going to eat too. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to make sure that people eat first. So, and that's the flagship project for me. Secondly, you know, I have a book that I'll be releasing soon. 7-part doc series on my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through everything. That's why, like, you know, what I'm sharing is just like the tip
just
of
the surface. Yeah, not get it. I'm going to take the surface,
yeah,
but I'm
because I think that people that do know my history in the street and don't see me really entertaining that is like, why not?
Loon, you got to say it.
Yeah, come on, you got
But yeah, you got to say something
like,
for
look, I want to tell it one time so I don't got to tell it no more. Then I can really immerse myself in focusing on the youth and stuff like that. You know, you could do tours where people ask you questions about the book. Yo, you said in chapter such and such, boom, 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 boom. And that's the kind of, you know, thing that I'm prepping for. Is to have a book, documentary, you know, paid meals, and, you know, I have a whole plethora of other businesses that, you know, I've aligned myself with, but my main focus right now is paid meals. And then on top of that, me and Mendici, we started a podcast, called The Perspective.
I got to get Mendici's in here, too.
Yeah, you got to. Because, I mean, Mendici, you know, even though we grew up in Harlem together, we didn't really have a relationship, but we was always aware of each other. And then every time me and him talk, we always got these mutual experiences, whether it was, like, girls or whatever. He's like, oh, yeah? Oh, what? Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
It might have been you that day that, you know what I mean? So... And I think that because of the vehicle he's been in, a lot of people haven't really heard him speak. So you just seen like this Shannon Sharp interview he did, he giving it up. And I think a lot of people was fascinated, like, man, I didn't even know bro had that level of intensity. But I know. So I'm like, yeah.
Me too.
You know, exactly. So it's like perspective is like yourself. We following a similar model. We're not doing this for clickbait. You know what I'm saying? I want to interview people that can actually benefit the viewer.
That's right.
You know, we got a couple of episodes already locked in. We just ain't start releasing yet. Like I've got crypto experts, because right now the state of the dollar is important. So if I can have some people that can educate you on what digital currency is, what blockchain technology is, and all of these terminologies that you're hearing, that you rather take it from somebody who's an influencer or someone who's influential in the business that you currently reside in. They don't know as much as these people that invested decades of their time. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things I want to do. And I want to enable people to have their own view and perspective, so the viewer can take away what he benefited from. Whoever spoke more eloquent, more firmer, more empirical evidence, whatever the case may be. The opportunity is yours.
That's right.
To walk away with whatever you want. Because you may not always take my perspective. Because the basis of my perspective is always going to be Islamic. But I don't impose my faith on nobody.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I can articulate Islam without it sounding like I'm preaching to you. Because a lot of it just comes with, like I said, your natural disposition. Some is just intellectual, cognitive things that makes sense. Logical things that just make sense. And these different doors are available to me to express my perspective. Now, Mike's, on the other hand, because of everything you've invested in the front line you've been fighting on, you got a perspective. And I think that having a place where you can have respectful, thought-provoking conversations that may not always go the way you want, but it takes a certain kind of individual to have these conversations without cheers flying and microphones.
It's a mutual respect. It's somebody that
man.
You know that somebody has a different perspective that you have, but they respect you.
Yeah.
Right? When anything is rooted in respect, we can have dialogue.
Absolutely.
And I tell people all the time, when you take
except with narcissists.
Oh yeah. But narcissists, they don't even know how to root things in respect because they don't respect nobody else's opinion but theirs. They think they know pretty much everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's not even I don't even engage in that. So you have to leave those people and they just gotta figure it out. Sometimes they gotta burn their hand. You could tell them to fire, they just gotta burn it and they gotta figure it out. But I know we gotta wrap this interview up because it's kinda long and we said a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing, man. It's a lot of, like you said, our real goal is about these kids and
That's
saving these youth and engaging their minds and changing false narratives, that we brought into. We brought into so many false narratives because the people who was teaching us didn't know better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we had street dudes that's all they knew was street, but they still had levels of integrity and principles that they instilled in us. So those things right there, I'm never leaving. People like, yo, you can't be this and that. You can't be gangster but woke. I'm like, well, the gangster part is the integrity and the moral compass that I learned from being in certain environments that never is going to leave me. The woke part is understanding the conditions of our people and how do I combine those principles with the conditions and finding my purpose and unifying all of those things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it confuses people because maybe it's something that hasn't been done or something that you don't know is done. Yeah. So people, like Nas said, people fear what they can't conquer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What they don't understand. Yeah. It's just the theory of man. So, I want to say thank you to you for watching your evolution. And the thing is, even though it's evolution, it's still relatable.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I still like I'm talking to Loon, but just the evolved Loon. It ain't like you so far-fetched and it's like, yo, he's just this Muslim dude, there's Allah No.
Yeah.
It's a man who's taken this culture and connected it with God.
Yeah.
And that's how it has to come. The culture can't respect you if you don't look, if you don't feel like what the culture is. And that's why I feel like brothers like ourselves were made for a time such as now.
Yeah.
Because we're the conduit from the spiritual realm to the streets and the culture.
But we got to choose it. That's the thing. See, a lot of people, unfortunately, fear leadership because they know the consequences, you know what I'm saying, of being a leader. And I'm going to say this in closing because I tell the youth this all the time. You have two types of leaders in this world.
Look into the kid. Look into the youth. I want you to tell them.
You have two types of leaders in this world. Those that lead and those that mislead. They still leaders. No matter how you cut it. We know the reward for leading people upon piety and righteousness. The reward that comes from that is good. But when you mislead people upon sin and transgression, nothing will ever come from that good. And you'll be held responsible, not only for your own actions, but your flock. Understand? Because there's a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned every man is a shepherd and every shepherd is entrusted with his flock. So you held accountable for leading people upon piety and righteousness. The reward for that is abundant. But if you lead people upon sin, transgression, and everything that's in opposition with what your Creator prescribed for you of good, then you have to reap the consequences, the punishment, and the anger of your Lord. And on top of that, you have to endure the misguidance that occurred from your flock.
That's a lot.
You understand? So
that's real.
I want to thank you.
Thank you.
You know, because I've been watching your evolution. I've been watching you evolve into someone who's actually taking on a task that may not be glorified or celebrated as it should be. Because for some reason we're more invested in mundane things or things that just happen to be more entertaining and more, you know, soundbite worthy. The hard work, we all have to invest. Even for those that have these platforms that use them in different manners. Take the success from that platform and invest in something a little bit more,
that's what I
you know what I'm saying, that concrete, that has more, you know, some substance. Because that can be celebrated.
That's right.
That can be celebrated. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here. You know, I'm here because I've been watching. I've been trying to nitpick and find where I believe I can be a benefit or can contribute to something. Because I don't want to be on something that, you know, doesn't offer that.
Well, listen, man. You always contribute. I get a text message from you. You'll send me something.
Yeah.
And I read and I listen. I'm like, okay. Always helping me evolve. Always helping me to think. Showing me things, you know. And that's what it is iron sharpens iron.
That's
man.
right.
And just watching your evolution and saying, okay, I haven't moved all the way to the religious realm of that, but, you know, I don't count it out, you know. And it's brothers like yourself. And I say it a lot of times, I'm not religious yet, but I do believe in the principles of Islam. A lot of my brothers, the people that surround me, Islam is a beautiful religion.
I see the sister that be with y'all too. Yeah,
you know
you know.
What I'm saying? So I keep Linda. I want you to meet her too. That'll be a dope connection with y'all. But I just want to say, I appreciate you, man. I love you for being who you are, man, and always representing and being a stand-up individual. And that's what this is called. Sit down with the stand-ups. A man who has taken his bumps and bruises. He didn't blame nobody. He didn't cry about it. He just continued to grow and decided to give his life to God and live that unapologetically and live it in strength and lead in that, like real leadership, man. So continue to do what you do, King.
Definitely, man.
And you know we got a lot of work to do, man.
No, we here. You owe me a workout.
Oh, man.
I got it on tape. You told me
that
you were going to lead the next joint.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I said that, man. Listen, sit downs with the stand-ups. My brother Loon, my brother Amir, a.k.a. Chauncey. I love you, King.